Hi, welcome back to my channel. I know there are days when you walk into your house and immediately feel more tired. It's not because there's anything major going on, it's just that everything in your house is a mess. Your bags, your clothes, your half empty glasses. They're all asking you, when are we going to clean? If you're not the type to clean but still want a clean house, this video is for you. I'm going to share some incredibly small habits that don't take much time, don't require you to be a neat freak, but can keep your living space more pleasant every day. Let's get started. Number 1 is a place for stuff you don't know where to put it. Have you ever held an item in your hand and asked yourself, where should I put this, and couldn't find an answer right away? It's not because you're messy, it's because some items don't really have a permanent place. Like a birthday present, you're planning to give away something someone sent you, a few things you want to donate but haven't taken to the car yet, or something you just bought and haven't decided where to put it. So you leave it somewhere on the table, on a chair in the corner of the room, and then forget about it. One item at a time is fine, but when you accumulate it, it becomes a feeling that there's always something unfinished in the house. The solution is to leave a separate basket near the door. Call it a temporary basket. Anything you don't know where to put it or haven't had time to deal with, you put it in there. It doesn't solve everything, but it helps you stop seeing things lying around every time you walk into the house. When I have time, I just open that basket and do it all at once. Having a separate place for these unfinished items makes the house look cleaner immediately, even if you haven't actually cleaned anything. And most importantly, it makes my mind a lot lighter. If you want to take small habits that make a big impact even further, this next video might be perfect for you. I've curated 15 practical lessons from Atomic Habits, but instead of talking about productivity or success, I'm going to apply them to keeping a tidy home and living a more minimalist life. Don't miss it. Now let's get back to today's content. Number 2 is clean up right after you use it. Have you ever left your shoes in the middle of the hallway with the intention of putting them away later, then a few hours later, they're still there? Add a coat to hang on a chair, then a handbag to leave on the table. A little bit every day, no big deal. But after a few days, the house starts to look like it hasn't been cleaned at all. This used to happen all the time in my house. Not because we're messy, but because everyone's busy and the to do it later stuff never comes up. The solution is actually ridiculously simple. Put away everything you use right away. Shoes on the shelf, handbags on the wall, pillows and blankets on the sofa right after use. It all takes a few seconds, but when you do it consistently, you almost never have to clean the house by collecting piles of stuff. This habit helps me keep my space clean, not letting clutter accumulate little by little. And best of all, I no longer feel like I have to start all over again every time I want to sit down and rest. And when you start to get used to putting things back in their rightful place right after using them, you will notice another very familiar type of mess clothes lying quietly on the chair on the bed or hanging somewhere to wear again and then forget about. Let's move on to the next habit to deal with it. Number 3 is don't put a hanger away too soon. If you have a chair in your bedroom or the edge of your bed or any other open space, it's probably been a place where half-worn clothes pile up. Not dirty enough to wash, not clean enough to hang up. Or clean, but too tired to put them away right away. So you leave them there, a shirt, a pair of pants, then a few more. You get used to looking at them, but every time you look at them, you feel a little annoyed because it's too messy. I've tried everything, and the simplest thing is the one that works best. Every time I take an item off the hanger to wear, I don't put the hanger back in the closet. I leave it out sometimes right on the bed or on the closet door. That way, when I take my clothes off, I just reach up and the hanger is ready to hang again. No need to open the closet. No need to find another hanger. Just hang it up. It sounds small, but it cuts out the very step that I dread finding a hanger. When I'm tired, just one more small task is enough to make me put it off. And thanks to that, the chair is no longer a place where clothes pile up. The room looks tidier, and I no longer feel lazy about hanging them up. Putting them away only takes a few seconds, and I don't have to force myself to do anything. Likewise, there's another seemingly simple task that changes the feel of the entire room. Let's move on to the next habit. Number 4 is make the bed and open the curtains every morning. I used to skip making the bed in the morning thinking that I would just lie down on it at night, so why bother making it? But over time, the room started to feel more and more lethargic and sloppy, not because it was a serious mess, but because everywhere I looked, it felt like unfinished work. The curtains had been closed since the night before, and the blanket was disheveled, as if I had just rolled out of bed after a tiring day, literally. Since I got into the habit of making my bed right after waking up and opening the curtains to let in the light, I have noticed a very different feeling. The air in the room is fresher, brighter, and even if I haven't done anything else, the room still gives me a pleasant, clear, and lightheaded feeling. It doesn't take me more than 2 minutes to do this, but it feels like a small touch to start the day, like someone tapping me on the shoulder and saying, "Okay, let's start here." And that neatness also makes me less likely to leave things lying around during the day. It feels like I'm in a place that's been taken care of, even if it's just a few small actions in the morning. The room looks brighter, the air is lighter, and my mind feels clearer. And once the bed is made, the next thing you can't ignore is the tabletop and other surfaces in the space need to be wiped clean. Number 5 is wipe the tabletop immediately after use. There are days when I don't do much in the house, but I still feel like it's messy and dirty somehow. I look around and see no piles of stuff, no trash, no smell, but I still feel uncomfortable. Later, I realize that most of that feeling comes from the tabletops. Just a few drops of water on the kitchen counter, a few crumbs on the dining table, or a little toothpaste on the sink. The air in the room naturally gathers into a slightly dirty feeling, not obvious, but enough to make you not want to stay there for long. So I started to practice a very simple habit wipe right after using. Wipe the dining table after eating. Wipe the stove after cooking. Use a towel to wipe around the sink after brushing my teeth. Don't wait until it's obviously dirty to wipe, just wipe it right after using. I leave a few small towels in those places so I don't have to go looking for them. And the effect is really obvious. Not only does the house look cleaner, it feels cleaner. That is, you walk into the kitchen and don't feel wrong anymore. Just clean surfaces and everything naturally looks like it's been taken care of, even if you haven't cleaned much during the day. Once the countertops are clean, we'll move on to the next thing. The most overlooked thing is the sink, where things that you leave to deal with later accumulate. And I'll talk about that in a moment. Number 6 is clean the sink. There is a type of dirt that is not obvious but makes me feel the most uncomfortable. It is the kitchen sink or the bathroom sink after just using it. At first glance, it doesn't look dirty, but if you look closely, you will see some water stains, some food crumbs, or toothpaste stains. A few hours later, those stains dry and stick, and no one wants to clean them anymore. I used to leave the sink like that all day because I thought, I'll clean it tonight. But by night, everything is dry, stuck looks messy, and much harder to handle. In the end, I just do one small thing every time I finish washing. I spray water around the sink or use my hands to gently clean it. For the kitchen, I use a spray nozzle or a towel, and for the sink, just a little water is enough. It may not seem like much, but it prevents things from accumulating. No more dried water stains around the sink, no more soap scum or toothpaste residue causing mold. I feel much more comfortable every time I step into the kitchen or bathroom, even though I haven't cleaned anything. And this habit has also helped me realize another task that I've been avoiding dealing with the trash in the sink, especially the strainers. Let's move on to the next part to deal with it together. Number 7 is don't let the sink strainer stay full for too long. I have to admit there's one thing I really hate touching the sink strainer. Every time I wash the dishes, it gets a few crumbs of food, vegetable peels, or other small things stuck in it. Sometimes it's still wet, sometimes it's already dry and sticky, and I usually see it and then ignore it. I keep thinking I'll clean it up later. But in fact, if I don't deal with it right away, later or clean it up tonight often becomes tomorrow. By then, the strainer is full, sticky, and looks a lot dirtier and smellier. Every time it happens, I don't want to touch it anymore, and so the cycle begins. The only way I can keep up with the habit of dealing with it is throw it away as soon as I see it, right after I wash the dishes while everything is still wet and easy to wash away. It only takes a few seconds. No scrubbing, no holding your breath, no thinking. Do it right away before it feels disgusting. Since then, the sink has been cleaner and less of a chore to look at. And I no longer have to frown every time I need to wash my hands or vegetables because the strainer is just sitting there waiting for someone to handle it. I realize that there are many small things like that in the kitchen. If you let them pile up, it's tiring, but if you do them little by little when you have free time, it's much easier. I'll tell you more about that in the next part. Number 8 is take advantage of the time you're waiting. One thing I've noticed is that I don't always have time to clean, but there are many small moments during the day when my hands are doing nothing. Like when I'm waiting for the water to boil for take advantage of the time you're waiting, the bread to toast for the microwave, or for someone in the house to call me to eat. In the past, I would pick up my phone and scroll through a few minutes at these times. But then I tried to replace that habit with washing a few dishes in the sink or taking things out of the dishwasher. Sometimes it's just folding a towel, putting away a knife, wiping the stovetop. It's not a big cleaning, just taking advantage of the time I'm waiting. And the surprising thing is, when I do this a few times a day, the kitchen naturally becomes much tidier without having to do any serious cleaning. It doesn't require diligence, just a little bit of attention and time. The more I do this, the less burdensome it becomes. It becomes a small action woven into everyday life, not forced, not rushed, but effective. And one thing I often do when I have time is to clean the dishwasher. I'll share why right away. Number 9 is cleaning the dishwasher. In the past, every time the dishwasher finished running, we would leave it there until when we needed to use it again. When we did, we found a pile of clean dishes that hadn't been put away, so we left the dirty dishes in the sink temporarily. Then, the temporary dragged on for the whole day. When it was time to deal with it, it was both frustrating and time-consuming. Later, we changed our habit. Every time the dishwasher finished running, we put the clean dishes away as soon as possible, usually early the next day. It only took a few minutes, but thanks to that, I didn't have to worry about nowhere to put dirty dishes all day long. The kitchen was always ready for the next meal. Dirty dishes weren't piled up in the sink, and most importantly, you didn't have to worry about why is there always something in the sink. It's a small thing, but it helps everything else in the kitchen run much more smoothly. And thanks to the kitchen always being ready, it's easier for me to start cleaning the whole house faster. Number 10 is light cleaning at the end of the day. There was a time when I always felt like my house had just gone through a day of chaos. Even though I tried to keep it tidy all day, when I looked around at night, I still saw a mess: toys on the floor, scattered cups, handbags hanging loosely, pillows falling off the sofa, towels hanging on the back of chairs, small pieces of paper scattered here and there. Not to the point of being terrible, but enough to make me feel uneasy when I went to sleep. And then I started doing something before going to bed. I walked around the house. Not to clean thoroughly, but just to see what was out of place and put it back in the right place. Pillows on the sofa, cups in the sink, towels, hung up phones, charged chargers, plugged into sockets, trash collected and thrown away. It only took me about 5 to 10 minutes, but the feeling afterwards was very different. The house didn't need to be perfect, but looking at it made me know tomorrow I can start here. The next morning, I woke up without having to sigh because I saw the same mess from the day before. If you find it hard to get into this habit, try tying it to something you do every night, like cleaning up after brushing your teeth, washing your face, or getting ready for work the next day. Once you get into the habit, it won't feel like cleaning up anymore, but rather like a gentle way to close out the day. Number 11 is the 5-second rule. There are times when I know exactly what I need to do, but I still don't do it. Not because I'm lazy, but because I don't want to start. Like seeing a few strands of hair on the bathroom floor or a dirty dish in the sink. I see it, but I still walk past it. The feeling of later keeps repeating, and in the end, I don't do anything. Until I heard something very simple from Mel Robbins. If you don't start doing the things you don't want to do, you'll still be in the same place in a year. That sounds a bit harsh, but it's very true, because I've been there. She also talked about something called the 5-second rule. That means when you intend to do something like stand up to wash 2 dishes, wipe the table, or fold the blanket, you need to act immediately within 5 seconds. No need to finish right away, just stand up, reach for a towel, walk to the sink. Any small action, if you don't do anything in the first 5 seconds, your brain will automatically find an excuse to procrastinate and the intention will pass. I started trying to apply it to small tasks. Stand up to fold the blanket, pick up fallen hair, wipe up a water stain, put away a shirt. Every time I think I'll do it later, I count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and do it without thinking about it. It doesn't always work, but I see clearly the more I do it right away, the easier it is. I don't need to force myself to be super organized. Just get through that initial small moment. Everything after that becomes much simpler. If you've heard this and are still feeling like I haven't done it all, that's totally fine. You don't have to do it all in one day. The important thing is you start to notice. You notice the little things that make your home messy. And from there, you can make small changes without having to transform yourself into someone else. Your living space doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to make you feel more comfortable, clearer, and less stressed every time you walk in. If you want to go further with small habits that have a big impact, then this next video might be perfect for you. I've curated 15 practical lessons from Atomic Habits, but instead of talking about productivity or success, I'm applying them to keeping your home tidy and living a more minimalist life. Don't miss it. Thanks for staying until the end of the video, and I'll see you in the next one.